Assalamu alaikum friends, I'm Miraj Mohideen. I'm the author of the award-winning book Revelation, the story of Muhammad, peace be upon him. And today, real big day. Why? I've been working on this day for over 15 years. We're talking about the first episode of Revelation, the video series. So sit back, I don't know, grab some popcorn and enjoy the show. But first, let's do the intro. Revelation. Now this took me roughly 15 years to write. And one of the reasons why it took me so long to write is because I didn't want it to be just a biography of the Prophet Muhammad, peace upon him. I wanted it to be a resource of transformation for all of you, just the way it was for me. His life is a story of transformation, not just of him, but the people around him. And I feel like anyone who touches this story, who gets near it, they can't help but be transformed by his example and just the teachings of his life and the people around him. So that's what Revelation is. And I think that, as you look at different books of the biography of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, you'll find that this is really unique in the English language. And one of the many reasons why it's unique is just because of all the assets in the book. It has family trees, diagrams, over 350 glossary names, figures, captions, memory aids, charts, timelines, anything that you could need to try to master the who, what, where, and when of his life. But even more than that, and most importantly, I wanted to be able to start seeing the why. Why is a story so electric? Why is a story so inspiring? And why is it so transformative? Now, I finished this book in roughly 2015. And since that time, I thought that I would take some time off until it was time to work on the second edition. But at the same time, I had this growing feeling that I need to change the medium of this book so that it can reach a wider audience. And I think the thing that kicked that off more than anything else was that I had a lot of friends coming up to me telling me that, hey, you know what, Miraj, I love the book, but I just don't have time to read it. It's been sitting on my bookshelf or my nightstand, and I am still on chapter 2. And I totally get that. I know between changing diapers and driving kids to school and, work commitments and then family commitments on top of that, it's really hard to get through a book, let alone a book that's a little bit more involved. And so what ended up happening invariably is a lot of my friends would just ask me, hey, Miraj, do you think we could just meet up for some coffee? So that's what we did, guys. I just had a bunch of friends over the several years after I had published the book, and they came over and we just talked. And it wasn't like teaching my friends. It was about having a conversation with my friends about how can we understand where you're coming from and how can we make Revelation powerful for you. And so I had a lot of friends over to my house and, we talked a lot. We had really powerful conversations, not just about the Prophet Muhammad, peace upon him, but even more importantly about their lives and what they are going through, their challenges, and how can one harness the power of the Qur'an, the power of Revelation, to make a meaningful impact in the lives of everyday people. Okay, now along this journey and along all these amazing, wonderful conversations, I quickly realized that, there's only so much coffee that I can grind, there's only so much coffee I can brew, and there's only so much coffee I can drink. And so this idea of a video series really started kind of spinning in my brain, and I got really excited after a while. I said, wow, this is gonna be great. I just need to find the right host, the right teacher or scholar who can convey the information of Revelation to a wider audience through, video and audio and so forth. And so at that point, I went to Los Angeles to meet with my mentor at that time, Dr. Sherman Jackson. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with Dr. Jackson is one of the foremost scholars on Islam in the Western Hemisphere. And he was mentoring me through this process of Revelation. He also wrote the foreword to my book. And when I told him, who do you think would be really good to launch this video series? And I had a couple people in mind, scholars who I like a lot and speakers and so forth. And that's when he said to me, and boy, I wasn't ready for this. He said, Miraj, you have to be the one to do it. And I was like, what? Like me? No. I'm not, that's not what I want. I want someone else to do it. Someone who can speak, say the Arabic fluently and powerfully and all that kind of stuff. He said, nope, not going to work. You have to be the one to do it. And that threw me for a loop. I went back home to Arizona And I sat with the idea for a year, 2 years, trying to develop this video series, trying to develop an audio podcast to help connect to people. And the problem was, the more I was getting into it, the more frozen I was getting, because a lot of my own imperfections were coming out, a lot of my own insecurities about how am I going to mess this up? What if I really look stupid? You know, I'm getting out there in front of the world. I'm a very private person, and I just really started freezing up. So I talked to Dr. Jackson again, like a year later or so forth, and he said, you know what, why don't you come out to LA again so we can meet? And so we ended up meeting, of all places, at an IHOP. And we sat down and we had a really powerful conversation that I'll never forget. He said to me, Mi'raj, have you ever seen the movie The Last Samurai? Now, for those of you who aren't familiar, The Last Samurai is a movie starring Tom Cruise, and it's about this Civil War general who is retired, kind of washed up now at this point, and he actually travels to Japan to help the Japanese government modernize and westernize their military. But instead of going that route, he actually falls in love with the samurai lifestyle and the samurai tradition. And so you have these scenes in the movie where he is learning to become a samurai himself. The problem is, the harder he tries to become a samurai, the harder he practices, the worse he does. He just can't seem to get the moves down, and the harder he tries, the more he gets beat up. And then finally his teacher runs over to him, and he pulls him aside, and he says,
Please forgive. Too many mind.
Too many mind?
Mind the sword. Mind the people what? Mind the enemy. Too many mind. No mind.
No mind.
Too many mind, which means you're overthinking this. You're making this too complicated, and when you're doing that, you're getting frozen up. You can't make the moves when you need to just kind of be fluid and just go with it. And he said something to me I'll never forget. He said, just relax and let God do his thing. Okay, you have a book here, it's very powerful, just let God do his thing. And this is what I recognize about Revelation, the power of the life of the Prophet Muhammad, peace upon him, and all the prophets, is that they led by putting themselves in places of discomfort. No prophet ever played it safe. And this Revelation series, I've realized over the years, and I'm continuing to realize, is a journey for me also. This is a journey where I also am trying to honor the tradition of the prophets by putting myself in a place of discomfort. Because as you know, it's only when you put yourself in a place of discomfort that you actually grow. You know, another way to say that is that if you really want to learn, you got to get off the bleachers and get onto the field. And that means taking risks. You might get hurt. You might get sidelined. Things might happen. But if you're always sitting your life in the bleachers and you never get into the game, you never really fully are living to your highest potential. And so this video series to me is my way of honoring the tradition of the prophets, my way of honoring what I have learned from the story of Revelation. And that story is that whether you are Abraham or Moses or Jesus or the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon them all, if you truly want to follow their example, it's not just about singing their praises. It's not just about knowing about their life. It's really about mirroring your life against their life, about following their path. And you know, the prophet that is mentioned the most in the Qur'an, more than any other prophet by a long shot, is the prophet Moses. And if one of the biggest lessons that I have taken away from the story of the prophet Moses, peace be upon him, is that he constantly was upping his game. He was constantly putting himself in the next level of discomfort. Once he got comfortable with one thing, then the game got harder, and he would have to rise to the next level, and so forth, so that finally, when he had his Red Sea moment, he was not flinching at all. He was ready to go. He had complete faith in himself and in God right there by his side, that he could lead his people to the promised land. And so in that way, we will talk about this whole concept of the journey narrative and the process of becoming the best version of yourselves and so forth. But this Revelation video series for me, and I want to begin by telling you why I'm doing this. I'm doing this because A, it's important for me in my journey, spiritual journey of development and so forth. And B, I really want to be able to help as many of you out there who are watching connect to the tradition in a way that is down to earth, that is every day in its application, that is powerful, that is transformative, in a way that helps you become a better mom, a better dad, a better, person at work, a better niece, nephew, a better son or daughter. Just become the better, most best version of yourself. And that's what the Revelation series is about. For those of you who have the book Revelation, fantastic. That's going to help you as you go through the Revelation experience. And for those of you who don't have it, well, I highly recommend you getting it, not just because I'm the author of the book, but because it's going to be really helpful for you to understand the material. But guess what, guys? Today, I told you it's a big day, right? Big announcement. I am going to give away the entire audio book for free. To access that, you have to go to my website, therevelationexperience.com. I'll put it down right there so you guys can see it. Go to my website, start the journey. The Revelation Experience audio series is basically me personally taking you through my entire book. I'm going to walk you through it so that you can understand all the high-level material and understand it in a way that's really powerful and transformative for your life. So I want to announce that today. Make sure you go check that out. And in the next episode, it's going to get more and more interesting. I'm going to start telling you the behind the scenes of my journey writing Revelation, my journey through this book, and then I will share with you the biggest discovery that I had that completely blew my mind about how to make this person's life, the life of Muhammad, peace upon him, a central theme of my life so that it transforms me. Because what this whole series is about, it's not information, it's transformation. Okay, I am so much more interested in helping you all get from where you are to where you want to be. Not just kind of overwhelming you with information. There are plenty of websites out there. There are plenty of institutes that can give you knowledge. There are plenty of people who can just kind of turn you into scholars or student scholars. I'm not a scholar myself, but what I am interested in is making you a powerful person. So how do you get from A to B? Where you are to where you want to be. And that's what this entire mission is about. That's what Revelation is about. That's what the Revelation experience is about. So I can't wait to see you guys in the next episode. It is going to get juicier and juicier as we move forward into this series. Thanks so much for being a part of it. It really means a lot to me. I will see you guys, God willing, in the next episode. Take care. Assalamu alaikum.